What if there was an actual blueprint for success? Not some get-rich-quick thing, but a real, timeless guide to building a life that just works. Well, in this explainer, we're going to unpack exactly that.
I mean, it's a question we all ask ourselves, right? Who doesn't want that? But what if getting there was less of a mystery and more of a science? What if there were actual clear steps you could take?
And this is what's so fascinating about the source we're digging into. Look at how bold this promise is. We're not talking about some vague sense of happiness, no. This is about the big stuff. A new home, a new car, a happy marriage. And the claim is, if you follow this blueprint, all of it will be successful.
So, the big question is, how? How do you get there? Well, this is not about wishful thinking or just hoping for the best. The source is super clear. This incredible result is built on a very specific and very practical foundation. It's basically a framework for living.
And right at the heart of this entire framework, it all boils down to a single number: 10. 10 foundational principles that basically act as your guideposts on this path to a prosperous life.
Okay, I know, the name is a bit of a mouthful, Kusalakamabapatha 10, but don't get hung up on the name. It simply translates to the 10 wholesome courses of action. Really, you should think of it less like a strict set of rules and more like a super practical guide for building a life of integrity where success just becomes a natural result.
And to make these 10 principles way easier to understand and actually put into practice, they're all grouped into 3 core categories. You can think of them as pillars, and these 3 pillars cover, well, everything: our actions, our words, and our thoughts.
So let's start with the most tangible one, right? The first pillar. This is all about the purity of our physical actions. It's about what we actually do in the world, or maybe more importantly, what we choose not to do.
This pillar is built on 3 really clear boundaries. First, you refrain from taking life, which of course fosters compassion. Second, you don't take what isn't yours. That's how you build trust and integrity. And third, you avoid sexual misconduct, which is all about cultivating respect. See how they all work together? They create this foundation of safety and stability around you. Okay, so from our actions, we move on to our words. The second pillar is all about the purity of speech. And this is so important because it recognizes that how we communicate can literally build worlds or tear them right down.
Now, this is where it gets really fascinating, because it goes so much deeper than just don't lie. It asks us to stop using slander that divides people, to stop using harsh words that cause pain, and, get this, to even stop engaging in idle chatter that doesn't really serve a purpose. The whole point is that every word we speak should be intentional, truthful, and constructive.
And finally, we get to the third, and you could argue the most fundamental pillar. This is the source code, the place where all our words and actions actually come from: purity of mind.
This pillar takes us right into our inner world. It's about letting go of that greed for what other people have. It's about releasing ill will. And this is crucial. It's about not holding wrong views. What does that mean? It means not clinging to distorted ideas like constant cynicism or nihilism that can just poison your whole outlook. This is the root of everything. If you can purify your thoughts, your actions and words will naturally follow.
So we've got these 3 pillars and these 10 principles. But how does all this translate into that new house or that successful career? Well, the source presents it as a really clear, direct chain of cause and effect. And this just lays out the logic perfectly. It's a simple flow. You start by consistently practicing these 10 wholesome actions. That practice naturally leads you to a state of purity and integrity in your body, your speech, and your mind. And from that state of being, a successful life isn't just a possibility, it becomes the natural, logical outcome. Yeah, let's be really clear about what's being claimed here. It's not saying this might help you, or it's a good idea. The teaching states that if you build this well-ordered life based on these principles, success in all your positive, meaningful goals, whether that's personal or professional, becomes certain. It's presented almost like a law of nature.
So this leaves us with a really big question, doesn't it? In our crazy, complex, fast-paced world, could something as simple as integrity, pure actions, pure speech, and pure thought actually be the most powerful strategy for success we've all been looking for? What do you think?